Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me what I think about the Nemesis 3 home front reveal, the NATO's 6th US Light Infantry Division. What I will say is, if you get to the end of this video and you think it was worth listening to, please let me know. You can just like the video, or you can comment, and also the fact that if you watch it all, then I'll know, because I know from the audience retention. Basically, I don't like just reading out the dev blogs. There's already somebody who does that, and there's a limit to how much I can say because of the NDAs and stuff like that. I'm under a non-disclosure agreement because I get certain things early, and so I can really only talk about what's right in front of us here, and I can't really think too far ahead. Whereas with the Nemesis ones, because when they do the votes, they haven't decided which one they're going to make yet. I can just sort of run my mouth, right? So I don't know. I mean, if the video does well, then I'll do one for the other half of it. But yeah, people have been asking me, and it's probably easier to just record like a 5 minute video rather than just explain the same thing over and over again. I can just chuck a video at somebody if they ask me what I think about it, which people keep asking me about. So, what is it? Basically, Nemesis, they just release divisions in pairs, and so far it seems that every other one we get to vote on, and then the other ones we don't get to vote on. So we did not get to vote on this one. They said you're going to get the Alaska-based U.S. Light Infantry 6th Division, which okay. And so it talks a lot about the history, which honestly I don't really care about, but the idea is that they were supposed to attack, Vladivostok, etc., from Alaska, and they were supposed to fight in the Arctic, which is interesting. I'm not sure how realistic that is. And then, getting to the meat of it, basically it says that they have paratroopers, so we're going to have airborne forward deployment, and they've got the Alaskan National Guard, and they've got the Ohio National Guard. Aren't they the guys who did the funny thing? Aren't they the guys who did the funny thing? Uh, yeah, it was the Ohio National Guard. So, yeah, the Kent State Massacre, the Ohio National Guard shot a bunch of innocent people who were protesting the war. Um, and yeah, they killed four, they wounded nine. One was permanently paralyzed. Just killed a bunch of kids because they were protesting the war, and they didn't want to get drafted, I guess. And yeah, it was the Ohio National Guard. So I wonder. So it was the 107th Armored Cavalry Regiment of the Ohio National Guard, which I suppose isn't the same as the 73rd Infantry Brigade. So I guess they're slightly different. Um, but oops, I shouldn't have done that. So yeah, basically, it says it's going to be 50% U.S. Army All Army Reserve, the latter being considered regulars with locked veterancy. So like Terriers on the UK side, if you go to second UK, you get these Terriers, which basically the law here is that British reservists are actually put on active deployment. Like they went out to Afghanistan and all this stuff. So they're not really proper reservists. They don't get the disheartened trait, but you can't upvet them. So they come at no vet, which right now is basically death sentence. So not great. And 50% National Guard. So basically, it's another reservist division. And we'll get into it more. I mean, obviously, there'll be a summary at the end. Um, One key feature of this battle group is that it had no organic tank support. The reason we attached the, university team killers is because they had Recon M48s. And it won't be in the tank tab, it'll be in the Recon tab. So I don't even know if the div will have a tank tab or if it'll just be like some ITOs and Jeeps or something. But basically it said, yeah, so the M48 is bad. The I mean, you would hope that this would get sorted, given that a division's about to be added, focused on this unit. But essentially, it's got the reservist trait, which presumably these guys will have as well if they're university blue on bluers from Ohio, and 80 points for this is really not great. So far, all recon tanks come at 2 per card. I would hope this would be at least 4 per card, because these are not good. Um, yeah, like the gun isn't max range. This dies from one shot to a Milan 2 or a TOW 2. Yeah. Depends how much it costs, right? But it's. So you're not going to be getting any IFVs from the looks of things, and you're not going to be getting any tanks apart from some in the recon, a company of recon employees. Then it says the U.S. Navy and Air Force will lend some support to the battle group. So this is where it gets kind of better. So there's going to be, security troops, USMC, so Marine Corps security troops, Navy SEALs, and some U.S. Navy aircraft, which we'll get to. So, it talks about the Logi tab. So there's a new helicopter, which is like, isn't that the one from the Korean War? The Sikorsky or whatever with the big box. It's called the CH-54B Tahi, which is, yeah, it's the Sikorsky from the Korean War. Yeah, although it might be the upgrade. Well, I don't know. 1992. First flight 96. Yeah, so it must be the upgrade, right? Uh, whoops. So this, oh, okay. So this wasn't actually in the Korean War. Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's where I know it from, which is interesting, given that it wasn't there. But maybe there was a similar one. Anyway, and then yeah, just your regular CV helicopter, CV Humvee. M577 is the yes, this one. It's kind of weird in that so this is 2 per card, right? But but this, where is it? Like, oh yeah, so here it is, 2 per card, whereas this is 3 per card. And it's like, well, what's the difference? They're both slow. This is more armored. Like, this is better. It's faster. It's faster. It's got more armor. It's got smoke. Obviously, it costs more, but like, this is 2 per card. Why? Shouldn't it be 3? I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. Um, and yeah, so the inf tab is basically the strength of the division. So it talks a lot about light rifles, including recoilless rifle and AT4 variants. So that is Berlin light rifles. Uh, huh. Yeah, so this is light rifles. They've got they used to be called like Berlin light rifles, I thought, but whatever. This is the bread and butter of Berlin Command. So, they shoot 1,025 meters. I thought it used to be further, but maybe not. But they shoot HE as well as pen. I mean, the accuracy is really bad, but the idea is you just spam these out all day, and you keep these recoilless rifles shooting. You always keep a supply behind them. You bring them back, resupply, and put them back up. So the fact that they have those is, I mean, depends on availability. It might only be 1 card or something, but that makes the tab competitive already. And then it talks about this Viper, which they've spelt wrong. It's just spelt regular Viper, but this is like an AT weapon which was meant to replace the Law. So presumably it's going to be better than the Law, but I mean it doesn't look very big, and they cancelled it. Right? They made several thousand and then they cancelled it, so it can't be that good. I mean, who knows what pen it will have? It could be anything, right? I mean, it could be, it could be like a Law 80. I'd be surprised given that that looks big and this looks small. I mean, or it could be, 84-esque. Could be 17 pen, in which case it's one shot in 3 armor vehicles, or it could be 16 pen, or it could even be like down to like a like this Pioneer Armburst got removed, right? But the Gendarmes de l'Air, like it could be 14. I mean, we literally don't know. Well, at least I don't. So it really depends what pen it is. If it's like an Apilas, great. But looking at it, it doesn't look very big. I mean, so I don't think it's going to be very good. And then yeah, so it can field a handful of airborne squads in Vanilla, Dragon, and Leader, 1 card each. So that's 82nd Airborne basically. Iborn. So this is too expensive. And Dragons got nerfed anyway. Like the range nerfs really hurt them, especially now that they made vision better. They nerfed the dragon range because you couldn't see them, and then they made the vision better anyway. And now dragons are just really not good. But they reduced the minimum range, so they shoot in forests, and so now it's basically just like a super AT4 because it deals 18 pen, which means it one shots 4 armor. But yeah, you'll get 1 card of each of these, which is it's fair enough really. Then it talks about National Guard rifles. These are the only mechanized forces, and they get the National Guard M113A1. So the National Guard M113A1 is really bad. Basically, it's the same price as the regular M113A1, but it's got the reservist trait. Now, sadly, because of the way the game works, what the heck is the A3 even? Because of the way the game works, it doesn't display the effects of the reservist trait on that. But basically, its DPS is about 33% lower. Its DPS is actually very similar to an MMG. So I think that the National Guard one should be 15 points, like, say, this. Because honestly, the DPS is about the same because of that National Guard trait. Sorry. The DPS is about the same because of the National Guard trait, the Reservist trait, which isn't reflected on the unit. Even if you hover over it, it just says, oh yeah, it lowers your suppression. It doesn't. It lowers your aim time. It increases your suppression 50%, or it might be double, I can't remember. And it increases your aim time, it increases your reload time, and that really lowers your DPS, and it decreases your accuracy. So, and none of that's reflected on the stat card. So that's a shame that there's no regular M113s. And then it talks about engineers, so vanilla flash leader, and then it says M60s, 50 cals, grenade launchers, so that's important. M40s are kind of bad. ITOs are good, TO2s are good, TO2A's good. So basically, I mean, we haven't finished it yet, so let's just keep going, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. So yeah, they get some stuff, and then they also get like these like security troops. So 7 men with an M21 DMR, which is useful, and they've got shock, even though they've got DMR, which is less useful. This is less useful now. I'm out of fluids. Oh, sorry. Oh well. So yeah, they're shock, at which point their DMR's not going to work. But they've got AT4s, and they've got smoke grenades, but they've got DMR. So that's a pain in the neck. The DMR doesn't fit in with the rest of the unit, basically. And they're resolute. So they want to get in close and deal damage, but Mom won't let them because they brought a DMR. And they've got the smokes to get in close. I don't know. It depends how much they cost. And yeah, they're coming in a Humvee, which I don't know if it's got guns on it. I mean, I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. Doesn't have any guns on it. Or a Dragoon 300, which is this thing. And you can't see... I mean, it's clearly got a hole for a weapon there, but we can't see the weapon. So it did really do... Because if it's got like an M60, for example, it's not good. If it's got a 50 cal... great, then it's like a VAB, right? With the security trait, so it gets good optics. Because basically, from the blurb, and the fact that it says it's only got one mechanized thing, your infantry's just not got any fire support. That's the impression I'm getting here. And so then security patrol with Colt commandos, a Stinger, security, and a military police, and presumably that's in the inf tab. So it's basically, I mean, have they got AT? No. So it's like this but without the AT, sort of. But it's coming in the Inf tab. So Inf tab Stingers is not a first because SAS come in the Inf tab as well. But SAS have got AT. But I mean that is really cool actually because basically you want military police with your guys to help them fight, and then bring in Stingers, which is very very useful, and they're sort of pseudo recon when they're stood still. So or Peacekeeper APC. So I didn't actually look up this, but maybe this is a Peacekeeper and not a Dragoon. I mean, what? Okay, so it just depends what the weapon is. That interesting. This is a Warno thread. This is r/Warno. So that, I mean, that looks pretty beefy. That's got like an autocannon on it. But, you know, it depends. It depends. Like, what? 1 times 90mm gun, 1 times 20mm? Surely not. Surely not. I mean, if it's. I mean, is it really coming with like a Bushmaster? If it is, that's incredible. If it's not, it's over. It's so Jova. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's coming with that, that's really cool. But we don't know. We don't know because it doesn't say. And like that, we don't see a gun on here. And this like Peacekeeper wheeled APC. So it really does depend on the armaments. If it, I mean, I find it very hard to believe that it's coming with a Bushmaster on it. Or like what? I don't understand what it means by 90mm gun, 20mm gun. What could that possibly be? 20, because Bushmaster's 25, so it doesn't make any sense. I'd be surprised to tell you the truth. And then this is the Peacekeeper. I mean, that's got a grenade launcher on it, but who knows? Like it really, they've not told us, so we've got no idea. I mean, this could make or break the division. If they're running around with wheeled autocannons, that's a really good div. And if they're not, so far I'm not particularly impressed. And then yeah, USAF security with 13 men squads, with 3 machine guns and military police is actually a pretty good squad. And then Navy SEAL and 9 men with Colt commandos, 4 M60s, 84 and satchels, Special Forces Shock Airborne. So that's pretty juicy. I mean, it depends if... So the thing with the M60 in this game, right, is that it can't fire while moving. But the M60A3, I believe, is... I suppose I'll put E3. Whereas that says A3. But yeah, the E3 has this pistol grip on it and is designed to be a run and gun thing. At which point, so I loaded this up. So this is how they work in Red Dragon. This is obviously the Korean SEALs, not the American ones who have stoners. This is like is classed as a CQC one because it is the M60 Shorty, which is, you know, I believe is similar to this in that it's got the pistol grip. It's designed to be for run and gun. You know, I think it's lighter. I think it's lighter. And so if they've got stabilizers, then that makes sense. Otherwise, this squad reminds me of this squad in that the M21 here doesn't fit in with the rest of the squad, and 4 machine guns doesn't make sense if you can't shoot them while moving. So we'll see. And this is the point I was getting at. A lot of this is we'll see, and so I don't really know how useful this is going to be, but I might as well try it and see what happens. Quite a few people have asked me to do this, so here we are. Artillery tab, so light divisions, M29 mortar, M30 mortar, M101s, 105. This is, it says new to the US, and, you know, basically the French get it, right? Oh, okay. And the Belgians, apparently. But yeah, I believe the French get it as well. They just call it something else. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, it's literally the same. That's the upgrade. This is the M102, which is the upgrade. Yeah, so it's that, and this is not good. So 105s are pretty garbage right now. And then one M198155. So I believe this is the one that so I'm not sure if this is actually the same as this one. No, it's not. It's actually different. Interesting. But the stats are identical anyway. So it's this. It makes no mention of whether or not it'll be the corrected rounds one or not. If it is, that's fantastic. I don't know if they want that to just be a 9th US thing. But yeah, if it's the corrected one, then that's incredible. If it's not, then it's still fairly decent. I mean, these are very cost efficient units. Like what? Why is this 5 points more? It doesn't make any sense. This should really be far. Why are these the same price? This is very weird. I'm gonna have to write that down. Why is this 115 when it's so bad? What the heck? Look at that range. The fire rate is lower. This is all over the place. I wish I'd never looked at it. Yeah. Anyway, so it says it can be towed by the Tahi thing, which is this. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, tanks. So, no tanks. National Guard ITOs and National Guard M901 ITVs and Humvee TOW2. So this is very good. This is all right. From what I remember, it's like 35 points, which actually makes it really good. Oh no, it's 50. I could have sworn it was 35. What? That's a shame. Anyway, it's 50. I mean, here the dishearten trait doesn't matter too much because yeah, you lose 5% accuracy. I think it is, but like the aim time and the reload time doesn't matter. Like the suppression resistance isn't that important because if you get shot at, you usually it's already Jova for you, right? But yeah, I don't know about that. I think there should be 45 really, but yeah. And the M109 ITV, which is I think yeah, these are already in 35th, right? Oh, okay, oh, that's weird. So this is a new unit. It is the National Guard version of this, which isn't very good because it doesn't have smoke, which is a pain. I don't think there are smoke launchers on the model, and yeah, so it just dies. But if it's National Guard, then you should be able to get more of them. Really, it's all about the Humvee TOW2, and the main reason is that it's got good stealth. But it doesn't seem to be the airborne one, which is a shame, really, because the airborne one has forward deployment, which makes it very, very useful for the opener. Right, so Recon, good category with very good options. Scouts, LRS, OH-58C Scout, which is just the Recon Helo. I think it's the unarmed one. I can't remember. It might be the one with the minigun. It's the minigun one. My bad. There isn't actually an unarmed one here, it seems. Or if there is, it's called something else. So, the new Pathfinders are USAR Airborne Recon attached to the Ohio National Guard Brigade. So, there's already a Pathfinders in the game, but that's the British Pathfinders. And so, who knows, right? These guys have a sort of similar idea to the SEALs in that they've got like 4 machine guns, but they don't have the whole CQC thing going on with the satchels, etc. So it doesn't matter too much if you can't shoot these while moving. This is still very, very good squad. Okay, and then the new National Guard M48A5 ACAV. So this is your only tanks are these National Guard ACAVs. I mean, I hope you get a lot of them. I can't see you getting more than 4. I've got no idea, right? But like, I hope you don't get 2, because like so this is 2, right? And it makes sense if it's an M1A1, and this is 2, which makes sense if it's a T64B1, but it does not make sense if it's an M48. Anyway, this is the interesting part. Based in Alaska, the USAF's 18th Tactical Fighter Squadron provides the new OA-10A, which is a Recon A10 without the ability to fire missiles, instead carrying HE and smoke rockets. Right, you see where we're going with this. So basically, the A10 opener is not as popular as it used to be. It used to be incredibly popular. The A10's got nerfed quite a bit. But the idea behind the A10 opener, which you can do on quite a lot of divs, 11th ACAV, probably a good one for it, is that you open with Recon Helos, right? Well, usually the quick fix these days. And then you bring out the A10s and you back it up with some ASFs. And the idea is that the Recon Helo spots targets for the A10s to kill. But here, the A10 is Recon, so it's going to spot its own targets, which means you don't need this. And it's coming in the Recon tab, which means your Air tab, I mean, who knows what the slot AP distribution is, will be free to bring more planes. So that's interesting. The smoke rockets are very cool. Reminds me of the ones in, I think it's 35th. Yeah, this thing. 3 availability here. I'd be surprised. Oh, okay, so this is 3, which makes me hope that the M48 Recon is at least 4. Because this is like a tank, right? The M48s are not good, man. So hopefully the M48s are... I mean, I'd like 6, please, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's this. This is 3 per card. I'd be very surprised if the A10s were 3 per card. I think it's probably going to be 2 or even 1. Hopefully it's 2. And then the Alaskan Scouts. So the new Alaskan Scout Sniper, which is just a Remington 700 hunting rifle, which I think the Belgians already get, but I'm not entirely sure. The Model 3011, I'm not sure, it might just be something else. But either way, the idea is it's a hunting rifle, and so presumably it will have sniper rifle range rather than DMR range, but who knows. And then Alaskan Scouts with M60s and M16A1s. So this is a sniper team, this doesn't have AT. Alaskan Cav Scouts, 8 men with 2 M60s and 1 recoilless rifle. That's pretty interesting, actually. So more recoilless rifles. So you're spamming out the recoilless rifles, and you can get National Guard M113s. The new National Guard M113A1 ACAV with the recoilless rifle replaced by an extra M60. Wow, the new and unimproved National Guard ACAV with so the best weapon has been removed and then replaced by another machine gun. Yeah! Wow, I'm hyped. And so AA, rather bad with pricey slots and no new options. iHawk, Stinger, VADS. I mean, that's not bad. iHawks are good. Stinger, good. This VADS thing, everybody's sleeping on it at the moment. Basically, there's this new cool tactic, I don't know if it'll still be around when this div comes out, where you just buy these and use them as infantry. They move really slowly, but they've got 5 strength and they can't be targeted by ATGMs anymore, and they absolutely melt infantry. So you literally just unload it in front of somebody and go and then load it back up. And the advantage of that over, say, the PIVADs, which cost the same, but has less micro, right? Because keep in mind, you got to bring your 20-point transport, otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything. You're not going to be able to move at 9 kilometers an hour, right? The advantage of this is that this can't be hit by ATGMs, whereas this can. And like a tank round will go straight through this, whereas this is classed as infantry now. So there is something to this. But yeah, iHawk Stinger's really all you need anyway. So that's fine. And then it says the older AH-1S Cobra, which is the real AH-1S, which explains why we updated the naming. So this is the AH-1S Cobra, and I wanted to sort of show you this. So I looked up like what's different with the AH-1S Cobra over the regular AH-1, and you see here that so the only difference I could find is that this is different, right? So if you compare it to the compare it to this has a 20mm Gatling gun on it, basically. Whereas this has this different pod with two different things. Like, they look like they're two different things. I don't know, they might be the same thing and it's just the angle. I can't tell, but this looks longer. I'm not sure. So I looked it up, and apparently armament on the old ones, and there you go, there's that little chin turret, here it is here. 2 times 7.62, or 2 times 40mm grenade launchers, or one of each. So, you know, I think they look different, but you can't really tell. So, but it's going to be one of these three. It's either going to be 2 7.62s, in which case it's crap, 2 grenade launchers, in which case it's really good, or one of each, in which case, okay, you get a grenade launcher. So, so we'll see, right? And then it talks about rockets, right? So yeah, that's that. And then some reservist regular Cobras and stuff. Are the reservist ones still 3 availability? There used to be some like reservist. I can't remember what div it is. Is it this one? Oh, is it 24th or did I just check that? That's 35th. It's definitely like a reservist. Hey, here you go. National Guard Cobra 3 availability. So it's just going to be these, which are already in the game. But the 3 availability is a really big help, to tell you the truth. I mean, generally, obviously you take extra suppression, your stats are worse, your accuracy is worse, etc., etc. But having 3 of the cards, big boon. And like, so this is a grenade launcher, right? If you want to think about grenade launchers, it's kind of weird because like, okay, this is 1575 and this is 1400. Okay. And then air, so strong air support. And that means A10AT, F-16 Eagle AA2, which is the, sorry, F-15. That's the bad one. It's the one without the AMRAAMs. But it's still good. So you're going to get good ASFs. And then the A7D Corsair, Rocket Cluster HE and AT. So the Corsair is actually already in the game. It's just French. So, like, these are... Wait, hang on, is this not... What's the difference? They look the same to me. Crusader versus Corsair. So the Corsair is an upgrade of the Crusader. No, hang on, it's earlier. The Corsair's older than the Crusader. So it's going to be worse than this. Okay, so it's going to be somewhere between this and this, I guess. I don't know if it's going to have 6 HP or 8 HP, but basically, you know, it's going to be the American equivalent of some sort of trainer jet. In Rocket Cluster HE and AT variants, so we can assume, you know, 3 per card, probably, presumably, and then maybe 4 for the fighter or something, although these are 2, which is kind of weird. And... Prowler, Electronic Warfare / Seed. Interesting. And then, yeah, the A6E Intruder, which I assume is like the Prowler. I mean, yeah, I think the Prowler's just the upgrade, right? Intruder versus Prowler. Okay, I think the Prowler is just the name of the Electronic Warfare variant. So that's interesting. I mean, you get a new plane. You get some new planes. So the fact that it's got seed's really interesting, actually, because all of these reservist air spam divisions, here's one, 152 easy, no seed. So you spam out your planes and then they'll die because you've not got seed. TKS is the other big one on NATO, and you'll note no seed, right? No seed. So it's very difficult to spam out your trash when you can't shoot the enemy. Yay! So you're forced to like use this, for example, or you know, try and bomb it with iron bombers. So the fact that it's got seed is good. I mean, it sort of reminds me a bit more of the KDA air spam in that, yeah, you get seed on this div. Although why this costs 275 is beyond me. Although I suppose it has 60% ECM. So there you go. So let's talk about, like, you know, the div and how it all gels together, in my estimation, just from this. So right now, meta is autocannon IFV spam. This div doesn't get that. And then failing that, you can sort of substitute for your lack of meta IFV spam with like Anks, and it doesn't get those either. So basically, but what it does get is airborne deployment, so airborne dragon, and then it gets like a recon A10, and then it can back it up with like these prowlers and stuff. I mean, looking at the loadout there, I can't really tell what's on it, but this kind of looks like a bomber, and this kind of looks like a seed missile. I've got no idea, right? And like, what is that there? Are those like rockets or no? I think those are just the air intakes. But if you look at that, right? So I mean, it's a wild weasel or something. Yeah. So this big one is seed, and then this I've got no idea what that is. But the fact that it says that where was it now? It says something like napalm and seed, electronic warfare and seed. So I don't know if it's got like some wacky loadout with seed and like I'm just thinking of broken arrow basically. In broken arrow you could bring this with seed and not seed. I don't know. I might just be making it up. And this is the point, which is why I don't really like doing this. But yeah. So if you think about like I think this is closest to TKS basically in that you do funny airborne attack and then you switch into air spam, but TKS gets forward deployed AA, which you don't get here, and TKS actually does get IFV equivalents. Well, okay, I mean they're not very good at the moment. I think they're too expensive, but you can get armor to fight IFVs with, whereas I think this div is really going to struggle against IFV meta spam. I mean, you can use the air, right? It's kind of interesting that it seems to have like high tier air with low tier air. Do you know what I mean? So it's got the spammy air and the good air, and it's got seed. So your air spam's gonna. I mean, it depends on the slot costs, but it sounds like your air spam's gonna be very potent. And then you've got Eyehawks to stop enemy air. So I think for team games you can just go sit in the forest with your super infantry and just spam out your recoilless rifles and your Navy SEALs and all this. I mean, I think it's gonna. Oh, actually, that one's got a weapon on it. That one's got a weapon on it. It looks like a 50 cal, but then that one's unarmed. So it's like, well, which? I don't know. I mean, that looks like a 50 cal. It might be anything. Whereas this one's got no weapon. So it really does depend. But generally, it seems like you're really going to struggle for direct fire support on this div. And so you're going to have to abuse, like, light rifle spam. And you're going to have to, like, spam smoke to close the range. And you can smoke with your A10, which is pretty funny. Like, I think your opener, I mean, on paper, it sounds like basically the best opener in the game. Recon A10 with Eagle, with Airborne. And you just burn, and then you're getting in, right? But then comes phase 2, which is clinging on for dear life, and you're going to cling on for dear life with, I mean, sure, you've got these, right? It depends how many of these you get, and the Humvee TOW2s, they're good. So you're going to be trying to hold back the blob, the IFV blob, with ATGMs, but yeah, I mean, it really does remind me of TKS, except your infantry's way better. But on the defense, your options are quite limited, although you've got pretty good helicopters, apparently. Or at least, you got tow cobras. So I think in 1v1 it's not going to be very good. Oh, there you go. So what has that got on it? We can't really see. That might just be for harms or whatever shrikes or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Did you enjoy this? Was it just a waste of time? There's not really much I can add, more than you can read yourself. I'll see you around.